So when it comes to live events, both virtual and in person, there are three common mistakes that most coaches and consultants are making. And the reason we've been able to identify these mistakes is because one, we've done them ourselves. I've been in the acquisition sales events industry for coaching and consulting businesses for about the last 5 years, and we have made a ton of mistakes with our events, myself and my partners, that you don't need to make. And that's kind of why I'm making this YouTube channel, is so that you can start hosting your events and not go through the painful process and make all the mistakes that we made early on. And the second way we've been able to discover these is by working with other coaches and consultants in the space and seeing the mistakes they are making before we start working with them. So the entire purpose of this video is to bring awareness to these three common mistakes that most coaches and consultants are making with their events, so that you don't have to make them yourself, and so that your events are higher quality and more successful. All right, so three mistakes most coaches and consultants are making with their live events. So the first mistake I want to talk about is focusing only on marketing and sales. So focusing on getting people to show up to the event and actually marketing the event, and focusing on monetizing and selling people at the event. This is what a lot of coaches and consultants focus on when it comes to their events, and they should. This is a very important aspect of any event, but these aren't the only two things you should be focusing on when it comes to your events. For a successful event, there are three pillars that need an equal amount of attention. The first is marketing. So as I mentioned up here in the title, getting people to show up to the event, filling the room, making sure there's actually people to experience the event. But then there's experience design, which this includes the event planning. This includes the actual experience the attendees are having at your event, the quality of the event, the transformation you're taking your attendees on. That stuff is extremely important. And finally, the sales and monetization of the event, so actually making money from the event. These are the three pillars of any successful event that need equal attention, and they all need to be optimized in order for the event to be successful. And like I said right here, all three are essential. If you spend all of your time on marketing and sales, but your event sucks, people won't buy. And that's where the mistake is made. A lot of coaches and consultants in the space focus a ton of energy on filling the room and also creating like an amazing offer or an amazing monetization strategy for their event, and they kind of neglect the experience of the event. And that's where the mark is missed, because if your event is bad, if people are having just a straight up bad time at your event, the touch points are negative, maybe your staff isn't properly trained, maybe they have no idea where they're supposed to go, the itinerary is confusing, the content is a mess, there's no flow, they're having a lot of bad experiences with a lot of different aspects of your event, that is going to really impact the conversions and the sales that you see at the event. So if you want your event to be successful, both from an attendee perspective and a financial perspective, you need to focus as much attention on experience design as you are on marketing and sales and monetization. All three of these pillars require an equal amount of attention. So that's mistake number one that we see most coaches and consultants making with their events. Mistake number two is trying to get as many people as possible to show up. Now, this is a very common one. A lot of people, when they start hosting events, they want to get as many people as possible into the rooms of their events. They think that the more people they have, the better the event will be. But when it comes to events, quality over quantity every single time. Meaning, you don't want just people at your event. You don't want just anybody at your events. You want qualified buyer units. And we've tested this a lot. We have had paid events. We've had free events. We've had events where we were giving away something extreme like a Tesla, and we were trying to get as many people on this event as possible. And we did. We had a couple thousand people tune into the event. But the second the Tesla was given away, it was a big Black Friday promo, and we made a lot of noise on the internet, and we got a ton of people onto this virtual event. But the second the Tesla was given away, like half the room left. Everyone left. And the people that were still there weren't very qualified. And we kind of saw that we would have seen the same results from the event in terms of conversions and sales if we had just had 500 buyer units in the event instead of 2,000, random people. So when it comes to events, quality over quantity, you want qualified buyer units. And a buyer unit is somebody who is essentially just fit to buy the offer, the product, or the service you're going to be selling at your event, which means they have to be qualified. They need to be the right fit for that offer. And this doesn't only apply to the offer and sales as well. You want the right people in the room that are going to get the most out of your event and are going to have the best experience with your event. If you have people that are underqualified, one, they're just not going to be a good fit to buy your offer, and they won't buy your offer, so they're just taking the seat of a potential buyer unit. But also, they're not going to get the most out of your event, because your event is not going to be built for them. Your event should be built for the people that you're trying to serve, the qualified buyer units. People who aren't qualified aren't going to be in the place where they can have the best experience possible at your event. So those are a few reasons why you should focus on just getting getting buyer units and quality attendees in the seats of your events instead of a bunch of people and as many people as possible. I would much rather have 50 qualified buyer units in the room at an event rather than 200 unqualified buyer units. Having the 50 qualified attendees will yield much better results for the attendee and for yourself. So mistake number 2 is trying to get as many people as possible to show up to their events. And mistake number 3 is trying to do everything themselves. Now, this totally makes sense. As entrepreneurs, we think we can do everything. It might be an ego thing. Maybe it's because we have had to do that. When you're starting a business, pretty much every responsibility and every task falls on you as the entrepreneur. And for a while there, you probably do it the best. You're probably the best at selling your product. So you don't want to hire a salesperson to do it that's going to do a worse job than you because you're just better at selling your own product. And maybe marketing as well. Maybe you just know how to market your product really well, and you don't want to hire a CMO because you're just going to market better than them. So you just try to do everything yourself. It makes sense that entrepreneurs want to do everything themselves, but this is a huge mistake that people make with their events because there are people out there that are experts at event marketing, at event planning, experience design, as well as event sales and monetization. So when you can, I know this isn't always feasible in the beginning when you have a small, lean team, but when you can, begin working with these professionals. Your events will be way higher quality and you will be less stressed and you will make way more money. So when you bring in these professionals to work with, maybe at first it's just like somebody who's really good at experience design and event planning. That's one less thing that you have to worry about when it comes to the event. You can just focus on your specific job, which is usually just delivering an amazing experience for the attendees and, being on stage or being in the Zoom room, delivering great content, having amazing speakers, whatever way your event is structured. When you take a few of these things off your plate, at first it's the event planning, experience design, then maybe you hire a marketing agency that's really good at event marketing, and then you hire somebody who's really good at sales and monetization for events. Then you really just have to focus on your one job for the event. It's way less stressful on yourself, and your event is going to be way more successful because these other people know exactly what they're doing. They're experts in this one specific field rather than you trying to just do everything from a holistic perspective where you're not very good at every single one. And this is essentially what our service is. We kind of noticed this pain point in the market where coaches and consultants wanted to do events. People love the idea of doing events, and I'm a believer that events are the most powerful tool that you can leverage within your business for building a strong community, delivering more impact to your clients, getting more clients, scaling your business, becoming an established authority within your industry. Whatever it is, I think events are extremely powerful, and I think any coaching, consulting, or community business should be harnessing the power of events in some way or another. But we noticed that these coaches and consultants were trying to do it all themselves, and it was significantly impacting the quality and the results of the events. So now we come in and we help them with their marketing, we help them with the event planning, experience design, we help them with the sales and monetization. And this allows them to, one, just continue running their business, because at the end of the day, like, you're an entrepreneur and the clients that we're working with are entrepreneurs. They have an entire business to run. They shouldn't be running their business and trying to build an amazing event. Like, we are the people that are good at hosting events and filling events and monetizing events. Let us focus on the event so that you can continue to run your business, and then you can show up and you can just be the event host, which is what you're meant to be. You're meant to be the host. You're meant to mingle with your attendees, deliver an amazing experience for them, show up for them on stage or in the Zoom room, however your event is structured, while we do all of the work behind the scenes. All right, so just a quick recap of what we talked about. The first mistake that most coaches and consultants make with their live events is focusing only on marketing and sales. You need to focus on all three of these pillars, which is marketing, experience design, and sales and monetization. Mistake number 2 is trying to get as many people as possible to show up. You want quality over quantity when it comes to your events. You want to fill your event with buyer units. And finally, mistake number 3 is trying to do everything themselves. It's much better for everyone involved, both yourself and the attendees, when you bring in specialists and experts to work with yourself on your events that are good at either event marketing, the experience design, event planning, or the sales and monetization. It'll make your life way easier, and it'll deliver a much better experience for your attendees, and you will likely make more money on the back end. All right, that's all I got for you in this video. If you are a coach, consultant, or community owner that is currently hosting events but you're not seeing the results that you want, or you want to start hosting events but you just don't know where to start, make sure you click the link down below in my description. And also, if you could like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be super helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.